Good morning, everyone. We are together today on Staten Island, a borough that is too often forgotten by those in power. And we are standing on the site of Hillside Grove, a sanitation garage in the process of being reborn as more than 200 units of affordable housing. The ground we stand on is a physical testament to government's power to transform the lives of those it serves when it dares to tackle challenges with ambition, imagination, and competence. That power does not arrive automatically. It is the product of sweeping visions of what government can be, driven by leaders who make decisions governed by a love of every person who calls this city home, no matter how much they earn or how much influence they carry. As I continue to build out my administration and appoint senior level positions, those are the leaders I am seeking to elevate. The approach to governance that I want to define City Hall. Our administration will remember New Yorkers that have otherwise been forgotten. It will solve issues that have otherwise been forgotten. And so today, I'm so proud to appoint 2 deputy mayors who will not only work to deliver the affordability agenda that resonated with so many New Yorkers, but will lead the implementation of that new, more expansive approach to governance. First, I'm delighted to announce Layla Bozarg as my deputy mayor for housing. When most New Yorkers think about what causes them the most anxiety, what chips away most at their savings, what makes life in our city feel most impossible, housing is so often the answer. We don't have enough of it, and what we do have costs far too much. In Layla, New Yorkers will be able to place their trust in a public servant with a proven record of achievement, who has confronted the housing crisis with the urgency it demands. She boasts 15 years of shaping housing policy at senior levels of both city and federal government. She currently serves as New York's Executive Director for Housing, where she directs the $25 billion housing capital budget and oversees housing and land use strategies across HPD, HDC, NYCHA, HRO, and DCP. More important than her resume, though, is who she has fought for. Since she assumed her role nearly 2 years ago, she has worked on behalf of tenants, low-income families too often left behind, public housing developments so frequently deemed secondary, and migrant communities whose welfare is often cruelly and pointedly forgotten. I am so eager to work with her to overhaul the housing landscape across our city, provide lower costs for New Yorkers, and make this city somewhere that many are able to call home again. In this work, she will have an exemplary partner in our Deputy Mayor for Economic Justice. This is a new position with a vast remit to tackle the inequality that too often permeates across our city, to go after unfair labor practices and corporate abuses, and above all, to build a city that puts workers and consumers before profit. This is a powerful role, and it demands a leader who has extensive experience fighting and winning on the largest stages. That is why I'm thrilled to announce that Julie Su will serve as New York's inaugural Deputy Mayor for Economic Justice. Julie served as President Biden's acting Secretary of Labor until this January and was Deputy Secretary of Labor before that. Her history of fighting for working people is well known to anyone in labor. As California Labor Commissioner, she took on wage theft and those who sought to exploit immigrant workers, work she only deepened in our nation's capital. Her work as a public servant is built atop her long legacy of tireless advocacy on behalf of those subjected to unimaginable exploitation. When she fought for Thai workers held in inhumane conditions in a makeshift garment factory in El Monte, California, she wasn't just defending the vulnerable, she was championing the otherwise forgotten. I turn to her to continue this work as she oversees the Taxi and Limousine Commission, Department of Consumer and Worker Protection, the Commission on Human Rights, Small Business Services, and several other agencies that will focus on New Yorkers' everyday economic realities. And I will ask her, as well as Deputy Mayor Bozarg, to lead with a compassion that too few working people expect from their leaders, a creativity that too few New Yorkers expect from public service, and a boldness that is too rare. Together, I am eager to measure our success by one simple metric: how many forgotten New Yorkers feel themselves now represented in City Hall? And how many people across the city feel their lives measurably improved by those fortunate enough to serve them? Thank you so much, and we will now hear from our new Deputy Mayor for Housing.
Thank you, Mayor-elect. Good morning. I'm incredibly honored to have the opportunity to continue to serve the people of New York in this new role, and to join an administration with a remarkable clarity of purpose. Like so many New Yorkers, I watched over the past year as Mayor-elect Mamdani shared his vision for a more equitable, affordable New York. And like so many New Yorkers, his message really spoke to me, and it spoke directly to the work I care so deeply about and have been doing for 2 decades. When New Yorkers hear the word affordability, I know it means something different to each person. For some, it speaks to high medical bills. For others, grocery costs. And for many young families, it's a reminder of the exorbitant cost of childcare. And yet, I know that for so many, the cost of housing is the #1 issue that comes to mind. When you can't afford a home, so many of our neighbors cannot, you can't fathom a life of dignity and security. Everything depends on stable housing. For the last 20 years, I have dedicated my career to rewriting that equation, to expanding our supply of mixed income, affordable, and public housing, building and preserving housing, affordable housing across our city, and standing up for affordable housing tenants. Every day that I have gone to work, whether it was at the Department of Housing and Urban Development under President Obama, the city's Department of Housing Preservation and Development, or more recently as the Executive Director for Housing in City Hall, I've been driven by a singular mission of making housing something that improves people's lives rather than something that causes them anguish and distress. We face immense challenges before us, but every challenge is an opportunity. There are hundreds of thousands of homes that we can be building. Look no further than the site we're in today. It's proof. We can turn city-owned sites into deeply affordable housing. We can get creative and innovative. This site is ready for massive infrastructure and housing investments, and we're going to turn it into homes for hundreds of New Yorkers with various needs, for seniors, those ready for home ownership, those coming out of the shelters, and those with low and extremely low incomes. I, like our mayor-elect, relish the chance to prove that we can do much more of this, and that what so many deem impossible is indeed very possible. In Mayor-elect Mamdani, I see a bold leader with a comprehensive vision to transform the landscape of housing across New York that we need to deliver to truly achieve truly lasting and meaningful change. I'm humbled by the trust you put in me to assume this role and to fulfill its awesome responsibilities. And I look forward to continuing to serve the city that I love and the millions who call it home. Finally, I'm proud to join a team that leads with drive and determination and works tirelessly to include every New Yorker in this equation and everyone who deserves dignity and power, including my new colleague, Julie. Because people's ability to find and keep housing has much more to do than with just the housing. It's also about their ability to find and keep good jobs and dignified work so that they can pay their rent and mortgages. I'm grateful to every person that has helped me get to this point. I want to mention a couple mentors, Maria Torres Springer, Alicia Glenn, Vicky Bean, Eric Enderlin. I want to thank my parents who were not able to be here today, but whose personal sacrifices in coming to this country 44 years ago gave me and my siblings a chance to be who we are and to live out our own dreams. And I want to thank my wife, Molly, who supports me in my ability to show up as the best version of myself every day. Most of all, I want to thank the people of New York for placing their trust in me. I will get to work, and I will work to fulfill that trust every single day. Thank you.
Now, our Deputy Mayor for Economic Justice, Julie Su.
Thank you so much, Mayor-elect, for this extraordinary honor and for the opportunity to serve. The very creation of this role, a Deputy Mayor for Economic Justice, speaks volumes about this administration's vision, innovation, and priorities. It reflects a clear understanding that economic justice, not just economic growth or economic strength, but justice matters. And it is not a side issue, but a core responsibility of city government. And this focus could not come at a more critical moment. Working people across the 5 boroughs and across our nation are being crushed by a cost of living crisis. They are laboring under unfair conditions, watching their pay stagnate, and living with the daily reality of widening inequality. Even as New York's economy has recovered from the depths of the pandemic, that recovery has not been widely shared. Wage growth for the highest earners has outpaced that of the lowest paid workers by 3 to 1. Half of working age New Yorkers struggle to afford their basic needs. And 1 in 4 lives in poverty, double the national rate. Mayor-elect Mamdani ran a transformative campaign focused on affordability, and I'm honored to help him deliver on that promise. That means a relentless focus on lowering the costs that are pushing so many families into poverty and so many out of the city that they love. But affordability is not just about bringing down costs, it's also about bringing up wages. That's why we have to make sure that jobs pay enough, that every worker gets a just day's pay for a hard day's work, and workers can organize and bargain collectively for their rights on the job. As the mayor-elect constantly reminds us, in the battle against inequality, one of our strongest tools is union density. I know that truth personally. When my parents first immigrated to the United States, they worked minimum wage jobs until my mom was hired by Los Angeles County. That's a unionized job, and it changed our lives. It allowed her to be home by 5:30. It let us go to the doctor when we were sick. And now that she's retired, she has a pension. And it brought stability, dignity, and the breathing room to dream. So it made the American dream more tangible for my family, and it put me on a path to law school. The power of a good job and the responsibility of government to guarantee basic standards of dignity and respect has guided my entire career. It drove my work as I fought for corporate accountability against those who exploited workers, and it shaped my tenure as California Labor Commissioner when we took on wage theft and stood up for immigrant workers. And it informed my work as acting U.S. Labor Secretary, where we worked to build power for workers across the entire country. So these are the experiences and the perspectives that I will bring to this role. And here is the promise that I believe local government can make and must keep. That in the richest city, in the richest country in the world, no one should be treated as disposable. That dignity on the job is not a privilege, but a right. That justice is not abstract, but it's felt in a paycheck that you can live on a schedule that you can build your life around, a workplace where your voice matters, and a city that has your back. Local government is where ideas become real. It is where policy meets people's lives. And under the Mamdani administration, New York City will once again show what it looks like when government chooses workers, when it delivers not just growth, but fairness, not just opportunity, but security, not just prosperity for some, but dignity and justice for all. I'm so grateful for this privilege to serve alongside amazing colleagues and under this history-making mayor-elect to deliver on this vision.